Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Titan Talk. It is good to be back here in Atlanta, and it's good to be back with Killgoon. What's going on?
I'm back. I have a child now.
Yes.
Well, I have a second child. I had a child. So my son was born on January 5th. So I had 2 weeks where I did almost no work, and I just held a newborn and tried to make my 2-year-old not hate the newborn.
Right. Hopefully watch some of the Vegas games.
I watched some of the Vegas games. I watched the Titan Talk. Sorry I couldn't actually be there for it, but
you were there in spirit.
I was there in
nice
spirit.
Little video.
Yeah, but no, it was awesome to spend a little time with the family, and it's awesome to be back. It's been great. I've had so much fun watching SMITE 2 doing pretty well from my couch, and now I'm glad to be back part of it again.
It's been awesome. Well, we had the big Vegas event. We had free to play, but hey, it's back to business as usual. We're back with Titan Talk.
And like we said at Vegas, the fun don't stop, right? We got a God a week coming.
Yeah.
We already shipped one God a week. We shipped
released the Kraken,
surprise early this week. And we've got next week we got Vulcan or Hun Batz. I forget which one.
I think Vulcan. Yeah, Vulcan is first. Yeah.
And we got a lot of other really cool stuff in that update that we need to talk about today.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I have the handy dandy laptop here, of course, as always. If you weren't paying attention, we did flash test yesterday with Vulcan, but we wanted to take some time and go over his Ascension Pass.
Yep.
We'll also take a look at Hun Batz's Ascension Pass because we didn't talk about those in the Titan Talk on Sunday just because such a full show, so much to talk about, but they're really cool. So we're going to go over stuff here. I will bring up the laptop.
And,
dun, dun, dun.
We do not have our iPads today because they're still on their way back from Vegas. So we just have our phones.
We've got phones.
I'm not texting during the course of the show. I just need to read something.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, we've got the shadow skin for Vulcan, looking really slick. Then we've got, of course, the first tracker
Killer
is
Robots.
Killer Robots.
Somebody had fun naming that one.
I know, right? It's the number of enemy gods killed with damage from Inferno Cannon or Thumper.
Makes
Thumper
sense.
is back, baby.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've got our traditional tried and true mastery emotes. We've got Vulcan's clap, iconic. We've got
I never realized he claps with his hammer. It's kind of silly.
Your objectives destroyed, tracker. Then we've got goddesses. Then the next premium tracker is kabooms.
If anybody is a trading card collector, the kabooms are like big hit cards.
Yeah.
So it makes me think of that.
I know, right? Well, this is the number of enemy gods damaged with with the max range of Earthshakers. So get those max range ults going with Vulcan, and you'll be up in this tracker. Then, of course, we've got the Onyx skin.
It's classic. You can't beat it.
Looks so good.
I will say also, we didn't really hit on it too much during Titan Talk because at Vegas because there's so much that we were trying to cover. But Vulcan has actually had a little bit of an update as part of this release, right? So he obviously his skin is much less red than it was before. But I believe also just the model proportions and whatnot were changed quite a bit to make him feel more good. Yeah, I think it's the technical word. I'm really pleased with how the model turned out, and I think just this classic color scheme looks good on.
Yeah, it looks great. And then of course we've got Opal. I love the hammer effect texture here. It looks great.
I gotta look at the big screen.
Look at the TV, the big screen. It looks really good.
Yeah, he's got as much hair as I do.
Yeah,
so he's looking good.
Then we've got the global emote, his turret. Oh, it's so good. Oh man. And then we've got the wave.
Yep, you gotta love the wave.
And then title is Godly Smith.
Godly Smith. Okay.
Then we've got the God Kills tracker, the Vulcan Mastery badge here, and then of course we've got Radiant Vulcan, level 10 on the Ascension Pass.
He's looking like Mr. Clean.
I know, right? And then we'll see if the card effects are in. These look like
they're temp.
Yeah, these are temp. So
I saw a post about that today.
Getting those in a little bit later, but. Vulcan, not the only god in OB2. We've got Hun Batz that's going to be joining the battleground a little bit later, about a week after Vulcan gets released. And I'm in PTS, so I'm not spoiling anything if I go here. We've got Hun Batz.
Somehow we will find a way to spoil
right?
something.
I know. We've got Hun Batz, who I'll also call out, also got a little bit of visual treatment here as well in SMITE 2. One thing to call out is the weapon has a little bit of a new look.
All new, yeah. And the fur and just kind of some of the general geometry just looks a lot better. It's not a complete change from SMITE 1, but I think just looking at him, you're like, oh my God, it looks so much better.
Yeah.
So,
all right, I will go to Mastery and we'll show off the Ascension Pass. First off, we've got the Shadow Howler Monkey, Hun Batz. Of course, your buy-in skin for
I like the
Ascension Pass.
The headdress?
Yeah, it looks great
it looks
with the little shadow textures coming out. And then the first tracker is Overhand Smashed. The number of enemy gods hit with an Overhand Smash that had full debuff stacks on them.
Yeah, and if you missed Titan Talk of Vegas, his Overhand Smash now, while you're channeling it, does a Prot Shred debuff as he howls, because he is a howler monkey. So we wanted to bring a little bit of that into the kit. So howl for the Prot Shred, and then smash with the Overhand Smash, and there you go.
And you'll be up in your tracker.
You're like was Chuck Liddell the Overhand?
Yeah.
Was that,
Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I'm an old man, so I will bring out the old references.
Yes, and then the clap emote, I love that one, the little flip. Then we've got objectives destroyed, god assists. Next premium tracker is feared. The amount of time Fear No Evil has left enemy gods in a state of fear. So easy one. If you're just hitting those ults, you're going to be up in that tracker. Next up, we've got Onyx Hun Batz. Oh, this one looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, the gold looks just like really sharp.
Yeah. Next up is Opal. Oh, I love this one.
Yeah, it reminds me of, I can't remember what kind of monkey, but I feel like I saw some kind of monkey at the Atlanta Zoo that looks like this. Like a lemur or something. I don't know. Looks good.
All right, and the global emote, probably my favorite so far. Uncomfortable side eye. We love the memes here.
They're great.
The art team has just been having so much fun with the global emote, so can't wait to fire this one off in game. And then we got the wave, of course, and then the title is Howler Monkey.
Good
fitting
title
for Hun Batz. And then you've got your god kills, your mastery badge, and then of course we've got Radiant Hun Batz.
Yep. And one thing that we don't mention every time we talk about these, but I'm just going to say it real quickly, is that you do earn back 450 diamonds through the course of completing it. And if you have any legacy gems, the price of these is 450 diamonds, 450 legacy gems. So you effectively get to go infinite on your diamonds by playing through the god and getting all this stuff kind of for free. So we think it's a pretty good system. We also did mention at Titan Talk Vegas that we will have, as part of our new Wandering Market, you will be able to get, I believe, 1 Ascension Pass token per Wandering Market. So you'll be able to unlock some Ascension Passes for free at a regular pace.
Yeah. All right, and let's see if the card effects are in. These look good.
They look pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
I feel like they're maybe a little temp.
Yeah.
I feel like the sort order is wrong. Like I feel like maybe that should be above the card art or something. But
it looks like it's behind a little bit. But this is the general vibe
you're
going to be getting. So of course we've talked about a lot on the show. Card effects, one of the last things to come in per god. So I'm sure this will be cleaned up and polished in it by the time Hun Batz hits the battleground of the gods.
Chad asks, when is the Wandering Market coming? I believe it's about a month from now.
Yeah, about a month from now.
Maybe 5 weeks,
something like that.
Something like that.
All right, let's. What I have next on my, I have a long list to talk about.
And while you're looking at your list, I will respond to another chat thing. Can we get an apply all card effects loadout thing to every god? It's annoying to have to go into each god. We know that it is annoying to have to go into each god. We want to add that. We just haven't gotten to it yet. So that is something that is on our roadmap to do. Yeah. We wanted you to be able to equip different loadouts for each god because we thought it was interesting. But if you want to just be able to click something and apply it everywhere, you should be able to do that too.
All right, next up on my list, let's talk about some of the skins coming out in the next update. We've got some cross-gen skins coming.
So we didn't really talk about this at Vegas, but we understand that there are an outstanding number of Divine Legacy skins and cross-gen skins that we have not shipped because we stopped working on all skins to be able to get gods going at the pace that we were able to get them going on. So over the next few months, we're going to be working on bringing all of those cross-gen Divine Legacy skins over. There should be a couple a patch, maybe 3 a patch, maybe 4 a patch. Kind of depends on how the flow goes. Right, but you will be getting those Ode cross-gen and Divine Legacy skins. So don't worry, we haven't forgotten about them. We aren't just moving on to making new things to sell you.
Exactly.
We are working on those as a priority. So we'll be doing that. And then we'll also be bringing some classic skins.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say before we get into the next one. We will be bringing over routinely classic skins per update that are going to be purchasable. Again, 100% legacy gems.
Yes.
They're not going to be priced like 4 times. We made a little bit of a mishap with the Loki skin.
Yes.
Initially, we've gone back and, kind of reassessed and reevaluated how we should be pricing legacy skins as they come over to SMITE 2. But yeah, you can expect at least 1 per update. I believe starting in OB, it's either OB2 or OB3. Don't hold me to it, but we're going to be getting those into you all's hands because we know there are lots of legacy skins from SMITE 1 that people want to see in SMITE 2.
Yeah, it's a good way to bring over some of the older skins that people want to see and love, and give you something to spend your legacy gems on, because you should be able to get free things with your legacy gems. That's something that's been important to us since the beginning with this process, but we just, again, had to stop making skins for a while because we had to make a bunch of gods.
We're bringing the gods. Well, the first cross-gen skin that we've got coming up in OB2 is Party Animal Don Zaburo. Again, I believe this was one of the final event rewards from the Smite 1 event. I believe it was like the Summer Bash or something like this, but I just love this skin. He looks so sick.
Yeah, this was actually, this skin was initially a tier 5 concept way back in the day, internally, where he was going to have like a whole bunch of friends popping out of the van, and he was going to, I think you were going to like switch between different animal forms, like when you ulted. But we just felt like the individual animal forms, while they were cool, weren't necessarily like so cool that it was worth turning into a tier 5. And we were like, this would probably be a better skin to be a tier 4, just lean into the cool aesthetic of it. So yeah. And then, we do not have the special emote support yet for any skins in Smite 2. But that is also on our to-do list, and we're hoping to get to that sooner than later, to be able to enable that functionality for all the skins.
Yeah. All right, and then the next one I have on my list is for Aphrodite. We have got Kiss Me XOXO. I believe this was an Immortal Honor skin in Smite 1, making its way to Smite 2 in our next update. So
yeah, it's looking good.
People have been asking for this skin, so
I saw that in a playtest today. So it is working.
This one looks really sick. I love the staff here with the little sunglasses on the cat. It's great. And then the last one I have on my list is for Khepri. If I scroll down and find Khepri, it is Living Brain Khepri.
Yeah, it's a creepy one.
It is a creepy one.
That eyeball is just...
It's just looking at me weird. It's got to get away from it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, yep, you can expect those skins to be coming your way in OB2.
I thought there was also an Izanami Cyber Geisha Divine Legacy skin.
Yeah, let me see if it is.
But it might not be enabled in PTS.
Yeah, it might not be,
because we had a little confusion over which skin it was supposed to be.
I don't see it yet.
Yes.
But
okay.
We'll go back with the team and make sure.
So yes, so I believe that the Divine Legacy skin for Izanami is also in OB2, but yeah, just not able to show it today.
Yeah. And I believe that it'll be classified as a classic skin. So if you didn't unlock it via the Divine Legacy, should be purchasable with just 100% legacy.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I would believe you.
Cool. All right. Next up on my list, we talked about Vulcan and Hun Batz both launching with aspects, but
we heard you guys like aspects.
So we have even more aspects.
We made more aspects. Does that sound good?
I know, right? So let's talk about a couple more aspects coming to the battleground in OB2, and we're in the A, so let's talk about Ares. Ares is getting an aspect in OB2, aspect of reverberation. So Call to Arms no longer grants protections or affects allies. Instead, Ares empowers his shield for his next basic attacks, stunning the target and spreading damage to nearby enemies. So this will be really slick. I'm just going to go and practice and see if we can...
Oh, our camera's recovering. The
oh my gosh.
No.
No. I big whiffed. 1 second, chat.
we can show it off and then go back, I guess.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me make sure that I have my laptop audio unmuted, and I will hide our cameras, and I will enable the aspect here. And now we can look at it. Sorry about that, chat. So yes, aspect of reverberation. Call to Arms no longer grants protections or affects allies. Instead, Ares empowers his shield for his next basic attack, stunning the target and spreading damage to nearby enemies. So let me see if I can just check this out here. I will spawn a god. Should have audio. Oh, also some updates to practice I'll call out here. We've got now a practice dummy instead of the Emir bot that you can just hit with all your stuff. You can reset it.
I see Flare Boot excited about that in chat.
Yes. So just a little bit more easy to, you don't have to worry about killing that Emir bot and waiting for it to respawn if you just want something that's static to test your damage out on. But let me spawn a bot here. Oh, yeah, I spawned the totem.
Yeah.
So, this is also another new practice feature. So if you click this, you could toggle through a bunch of different gods that you want to spawn. So I'm going to spawn this Emir. There we go. I will toggle the arms. And you can see that AoE damage area that pops up with the aspect. So encouraging a little bit more aggressive play.
Yeah, just having a reliable reliable melee stun.
Yes.
Is a big change for his kit, right? So it's like, do you want to be less protective and more engagey, I guess, is kind of the trade-off there.
Yeah, and I believe it does do an AoE. Let me see if I can try this out. My wave management isn't the best.
Yeah, maybe we got to clear this one.
There we go.
And does it only stuns gods, or does it?
Let's see here. Stunning the target and spreading.
Yes.
Yeah. Here we go. Here.
Yeah. So did a little AoE damage there.
So
and should be fun to play around with.
Yeah.
Later today in Flash Test.
Oh, spoiler alert. We didn't talk about that yet. We are planning on flash testing a little bit later on today. So for those of you who are paying attention to our official Discord, keep an eye out. I believe Hun Batz is going to be active for people to be able to play in that flash test. So it should be good. I'm going to bring us back to cams as I toggle through, quit the match, and we're going to talk about... Dun, 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 dun.
And I will answer one thing where it's, you need to build big main stats for the AoE damage. Sometimes just having a stun is good enough. And the damage is just kind of a bonus more than needing to build around the damage, I think.
All right. This one is definitely going to shake some things up. Sobek is getting an aspect in OB2.
A wild one.
Aspect of Prey. So Charge Prey now passes through all targets and knocks them forward. Sickening Strike's cooldown reduction now additionally triggers off of jungle monsters, but the healing is halved. So this is going to shake up a little bit of the way that you engage with Sobek with his aspect. And I will go into practice and we'll show it off here. We'll go blink. You got to go blink Sobek here. And I will spawn a guy. Space them out here. I will toggle my aspect on. Set to level 20 and... I will have myself give me some reduced cooldowns. Cool. So, without the aspect, of course, you've got the classic tried and true plus. But if I turn on the aspect, it is now a dash that goes through enemies but knocks them back. So, changes the way you engage.
Yeah, it's a little bit Bake Kujira-ish, if I may. Kind of neat, a little bit of a different twist on how you play Sobek.
And of course the wave dies as soon as I get here, but it does go through all the enemies, so you can dash through the wave now instead of, hitting the wave and just plucking one minion.
Chat asks if it counts as a knock-up. I'm not sure. I would assume it does.
There we go.
And then also, I believe the R does, or the 3 does. It was changed as well. If you mouse over the description.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh yeah, for the aspect. So yeah, Sickening Strike. The cooldown reduction now triggers off of jungle monsters, but your healing is half.
Yeah. So I think the idea is that this could be more of a jungling aspect. And maybe it works for other things, but this being able to come in behind people and then charge prey, drive them back into your team.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was kind of the thoughts around how we created this one.
Show that off one more time, and then of course, I've got. So you get the cooldown reduction on Sickening Strike as well.
So you can actually clear some jungle games, potentially.
So a couple more aspects headed to the battleground, again in OB2. Like we said earlier, we're super excited to keep continuing to deliver on aspects as we go through.
Chat says, when Bake comes in 2 years, will his aspect pluck? Now you're playing the long game. No, I think this is a little bit different than what Bake Kujira does. It's just kind of vaguely similar, so it made me think of it as we were looking at it.
Cool. All right. Well, that kind of wraps it up for the God things that we've got going on. But I did want to call out, we've got a new item coming to SMITE 2 in the next update, and it is a new starter item.
Yes, new starter.
You may notice something that wasn't here before. We've got Gilded Arrow and the upgrade coming to the battleground in OB2. So Gilded Arrow, again from SMITE 1. It was kind of geared to more your crit play style in SMITE 1. So the passive in SMITE 2 is every 8 seconds, the highest health enemy, minion, or jungle monster within 12.8 meters of you is marked. If you secure the killing blow on that target, you gain 4 bonus gold and 25% attack speed for 8 seconds and restore 30 mana, and requires you, of course, to get level 20 to get the upgrade. And speaking of the upgrade, we've got Sharpshooter's Arrow. So all sources of gold gain are increased by 5%. Basic attack damage is increased by 20% when hitting a target over 7.5 meters away.
It reminds me of the Rangers. Did we actually call them aspects when we did those, that early system?
That early system in SMITE 1. I forget what it was called, but it benefited you for hitting those max range autos. So again, this one is not really geared towards crit, but it just opens up a new playstyle for the carry role for those sharpshooters able to hit those basic attacks from that long range. You're getting that extra damage.
A lot of good numbers on that, like 60 basic attack power, 10% attack speed, 15% lifesteal, 15% crit chance, plus increased basic attack damage by 20% at long range. That all seems pretty good.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Crazy new WA item. Somebody is brewing.
Somebody's cooking. All right. Let's talk about just some of the other quality of life stuff while we're in game. Yeah, let's call it out.
OB2 is, I would say, obviously not as big as the last update was, but there's a lot of stuff that we were able to get in that I think it's just a lot of little like quality of life stuff that a lot of people have been asking for. We're going to keep working our butts off to hopefully deliver the same kind of stuff every update going forward, right? Because it can't just be a new god every week, right? We need to keep making the core game better as well. Yeah. And hopefully you will see that as we go through here.
So the first one I want to bring up, because we've talked about it on Titan Talk before. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to do it.
Oh.
We're zooming in.
Yeah. Just like people asked for, roll your mouse wheel, zoom in. You can unbind it if you don't want it to be there. And I believe our UI folks told me that if you already have something else bound to mouse wheel up and down, it will probably not automatically rebind to this. So if you want to change your functionality to be able to do this, I believe you will need to go in and bind this to something.
All right. And then another thing that we wanted to talk about, because it's been discussed on Titan Talks and also on Reddit, we've been seeing a lot of threads pop up, is we've made some changes to colorblind settings, right, Killgoon?
Yes. So this is a version 1.1, I guess I would say. So for SMITE 2, we implemented a new way of handling colorblind settings, which applies a screen-wide kind of like post-process filter, which is supposed to make the game easier to see for colorblind people.
Right.
I'm not colorblind. I can't tell you that it works, but we've had a lot of people saying it's not working the way they want it to. So if you go to the colorblind settings now, I believe that we've added the ability to, the color correction strength, which will allow you to tune that in a little bit more. And we've also, I believe, added a contrast setting, which may be under video. Maybe I'm wrong about that one. There was some talk about it, but maybe.
Contrast.
So contrast is there. So a lot of colorblind players should be able to find a better situation for their personal vision with the combination of those two things, by screwing around with the contrast a little bit or screwing around with the color correction strength.
Yes.
Now, the big question is, or the big response I'm sure is in chat, I haven't read it yet, is I don't want this. I just want blue and yellow health bars. Well, I have good news. We're working on that.
Yes.
It's not going to be an OB2, but almost certainly for OB3, we will have the ability to just change the health bar colors to be blue and yellow.
Yeah.
So you will be able to switch to that if that's the style that you prefer, and not color correct any of the rest of the game. So
cool. All right. And then I'm going to bounce around in my list here. Because I'll save the last thing for last, but we've got something new called the favorite god tags, Killgoon. I'm not super familiar.
Yeah,
so
quit the match and go back to your gods tab. Yeah, there you go. And then I believe, maybe I don't know how to do this. There's a way to favorite gods so that they appear at the top of the list.
Okay.
But I don't remember how to do it. And maybe it's not actually in this build. So yeah, I think I saw like you get like a thumbs up icon on the god.
Okay,
and it goes to the top. There is a way to do it, or at least there is in dev, and it might not be in PTS right now. And then that also will work for the match lobby.
Okay.
So if you favorited a god, then it will appear at the top of the list of gods in match lobby versus alphabetical order. So if you just are like, I don't want to have to scroll down to find Zeus because I play Zeus every game, and I want to favorite him so he's always at the top, you'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
The top corner of the god card, there is a pin on the card.
Ooh,
Chad is telling us
here.
what we should be looking for. There you go. There you go. Yes. So yes, there you go. Now you have pinned the god. You pinned ones that were already at the top, so people can't see it. But yes, so Odin is now pinned, and I think if you go and come back, now he's at the top. Yes. Thank you so much, chat, for noticing what we could not see.
I know, right? Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to solve things in real time.
Right.
But yes, I knew there was a way to pin it. Yeah, so you pin it, and they're at the top, and then I believe they also appear at the top in the match lobby once you've done that. So thanks, chat.
Very helpful. Right? They're calling it out. Hey, at least we know it's easy to see immediately, you know? At least not for me and you know, but.
So kind of a cool little feature.
Yeah, cool. All right, and then the next one that I have on my list is a text chat update. Killgoon, you want to talk about this?
So I am 99% sure that OB2 will have post-match text chat in the match lobby between both teams. So just like in SMITE 1, all chat for everybody in the post-match lobby. That chat will only be active for, I believe, 60 seconds because of the way that we're handling it. And also we don't just want to leave instances going forever so that people can chat ad nauseum. But post-match lobby chat for at least a little bit of like GGs or, you know, if you want to be a horrible person, prefer you don't be, but you know, we know what happens. So a lot of that stuff. Pretty excited. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that.
Cool. All right, and then next up on my list, I have Assault Healer Rules.
Yes,
coming in
and we're not talking about any balance stuff today because we're going to have Lermy on Friday. To talk about Lermy's
Gotta have Lermy's balance bit. I will say that we were watching closely to Vegas over the weekend. Got a lot of feedback from that. Got a lot of data from the matches being played in live over the past week. So there are lots of
Gargoyle is good.
Yes.
Stampede is good.
Yeah, Aladdin
good. Real good.
Uller, Medusa, Jingwei, good.
Cabrakan, not so good.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the rough overview of the current meta from how I can tell.
There will be more changes outside of that, too. Of course, we'll have some buffs along the way as well, but we'll be going over all that stuff on Friday during our Titan Talk with Lermy.
Yep.
Where was I at? Assault Healer Rules.
Yes.
OB2. We're getting those back in.
Yes. We are getting Assault Healer Rules in OB2. I believe there are a couple different healer tiers. Obviously, we don't have as many healers in the game as we did in SMITE 1, so it's not quite as diverse as it was. But yes, we do have healer rules, and you can be guaranteed that if one team has a healer, the other team will
get a healer.
Be offered a healer. If they reroll away from it, sorry.
Yeah. All right. And then last one on my list is kind of a big one. Max was feeling a little bit under the weather, but we do have some ranked and matchmaking things that we want to talk through. Max sent over a lot of notes, so I'm going to bring up the handy dandy laptop once again, if I can find my button, and I will full screen this. Chat, you are warned. It is a white dock, so prepare your eyes. Dun, dun, dun. All right, cool. All right, so let's talk about ranked conquest. Trio Q. A big topic of discussion after the introduction in ranked. It was turned off for a little bit, then brought back, and then with a whole lot more people hopping into ranked, of course, Trio Q has been a topic of discussion just to make sure that it's feeling fair for everyone who is on the ranked grind. So the way that ranked matchmaking works is through a hard limit on SR range in a match that expands over time. The longer a player is waiting, the wider the range possible within a match. Trio Q is pretty healthy for the top end of the ranked funnel. It's bringing in a whole lot of new people into ranked. Yes. I've been seeing that on social media. People are loving the idea of being able to bring in a couple of friends into the ranked queues to play.
People it's crazy how many more people are willing to play ranked in a group of 3 versus in a duo. So we do think it's healthy, especially for new players, but there are definitely issues that occur later in the flow chart. So
exactly.
Sorry, keep going.
The standard for Trio Q matchmaking rules, it's sometimes created some undesirable outcomes, especially when you get to the top end, like you were just talking about, Killgoon. So we're working towards the future, having the ability to limit party sizes based based on player SR. We don't quite have that tech capable now, but we are working on something for the future as a possible solution. But moving forward, we're going to be treating solo and duo queuing as the standard for ranked, in quotation marks. And trio queuing ranked is going to have its own set of rules. Party sizes of 3 will be evaluated based on the maximum SR of their party, as opposed to the average of the 2 players' SR if you're duo queuing. Parties of a size of 3 will be hard limited to a range of 1,000 SR, capping at 5,000 SR. So this means parties of a size 3 can incur indefinite wait times in ranked if there's no viable match that exists. This also will be based on the maximum SR of party members on the opposing team as well.
So essentially, if you're matchmaking as a party of 3, you are going to be matchmade based on the highest SR of your party versus the average SR of your party.
Yes.
And you may have to wait a very long time for a match.
Yeah.
You could not, but you just might have to wait longer.
Yeah. As a note for this, we've also removed 3-1-1 versus 2-1-1-1 as an eligible match from the ranked matchmaking pool. So if you're in a trio queue, you're always going to face a trio queue. That's kind of the idea. Before, you were able to face a duo queue and 3 solos. Now that's not the case.
Yep.
Skill rating, SR post matchmaking adjustment. So we did find a bug that was resulting in players gaining or losing an incorrect amount of SR based on the quality of the opposition. That has been fixed for OB2. It resulted in some nonsensical feeling adjustments post match, but that's going to be fixed up. And then we've also made a skill rating adjustment to now factor in the quality of opposition much more heavily. So
it's not just, any win is plus or plus 10, any loss is minus 10. And, it's a lot more focusing on how likely were you perceived to be to win that match, I believe.
Yeah. And then regional ranked, one of the big things that we talked about that Max was really excited about was being able to make adjustments per region. So a few regions which previously had minimum restrictions placed on their ranked matchmaking will have slight adjustments made due to the increased ranked population, but we're still going to be keeping an eye on things. So LATAM South and OCE, just going to be bringing things in just a little bit tighter now that more people in those regions are playing ranked. And then moving on to some matchmaking updates. So team balancing updates. So discrepancies with how teams were balanced, it was uncovered, and the first potential fix is being implemented. But we're going to continue to work on this front and make sure that things are looking good for matchmaking for ranked and casual. So an example of this issue previously looked like matches where 1 or 2 players swaps made logical sense to create more balanced match state. And then this incoming fix, again, affects both casual and ranked matchmaking. So Max is still keeping an eye on things, still cooking some things up, and going to keep an eye on things as we progress, for sure.
Yeah, I think, if you look at the SMITE 2 logo, there's still a big beta on it.
Yes,
right?
there is a beta tag next to it. Yeah.
And we do not consider ourselves done, right?
Yeah.
We think the game is in a really good spot. We think it's the core game is extremely fun, and people are responding to it, but we know that we have a lot of this kind of like deep level polish work still to go, and some little bug fixes and whatnot that are affecting people that we need to get in. So hopefully this makes matchmaking feel a little bit better once we roll it out.
Exactly. This is the second update in our open beta, and we're already fixing a bunch of stuff and keeping an eye on things, and we're going to continue to do that throughout the course of the year. And I believe, Alex, that was all that I had on my list. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we get into community Q&A? It feels like it's been forever since we've just opened up the floor for questions.
It has been a while. I will say, if you did miss Vegas, you should go back and you should watch from Vegas. Congratulations to
5Ms.
5Ms, our champions. The games were pretty sick from what I saw.
Got a bracket reset. Like, it was amazing. Just being there and being in the arena, it was just so hype.
Yeah, very fun. And just in terms of timeline, currently we're expecting OB2 will be early next week, right? Because we need to ship a god every week, and we've already shipped Karakin this week, so we need to ship a new god next week. So early next week is the most timeline I can give right now. But yeah, you guys are never going to be waiting too long for an update.
Oh, yeah.
We've also, the other thing we should just talk about real quick is we've shipped a ton of updates to live over the past few days. And normally we like read all of them on the show. I don't know if it's worth going through all the stuff that we've done.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
But we've done a lot of things. So I would say, take a look at all the stuff.
Keep an eye on the Smite Game social media. If you're not following Titan Kabir on Twitter,
yes,
definitely follow him because he's got the instant. He's the first one who's got all the news on all the bug fixes and stuff that got hit live. So
yeah, he is the I'm not gonna remember his official title, but like
release manager.
Release manager, yeah. So anything that goes out, he knows and he is certifying. So he is the best source for what exactly goes live immediately as it goes live. But pretty much every day this week we have put out more bug fixes.
Yep.
So I know there's one today where like Agni could only detonate his one with his dash while he was in
Aladdin's lamp. He just weird edge cases like that.
A lot of stuff like that. So we're definitely trying to polish everything that we can. When you ship 5 gods at once, you're gonna have a couple edge cases that come up. But we've been working through them, and I think the game is continuing to get into a better and better place.
Yeah, cool. All right, chat. That is everything that is on our list to cover today. Super casual show today. We had some cool stuff that's coming in OB2. Flash test a little bit later on after this show. Keep an eye on our official social media channels and Discord for news on that front. But we're going to open up the floor for questions. What do y'all want to talk about today? It's been a minute. Smite Cart 2 win.
Let's see. And I'm just going to give it a second to get going here. There's a question, can we get AI assault? So we do have to do a little bit of different AI work for each mode. I believe that assault is somewhere on the roadmap, but not just an immediate thing. Again, assault is kind of like the most alpha game mode that we have right now because it's kind of on a temp map as well, right? Like we want to get it on a bigger map. We want to do things to it. I think that realistically, the next map update is going to be a more comprehensive Conquest look, feel, slight gameplay update because Conquest just doesn't feel like it's at the same standard.
Yeah.
And probably at the same time, we'll at least make some change to Assault because Assault is on the Conquest map. Lots of things to do on the Assault world for sure. Yeah. We also have some other gameplay innovations that we're working on for Assault that just haven't shipped yet. Thoughts about making new gods not bannable for the first week or so after release, or is the ban rate stat too important? I feel like it's a bummer to have the new stuff perma-banned. I think it's interesting. It's not really about the ban rate stat. I would say it's more just letting the god exist in a somewhat normal state.
Right, yeah.
Normally in Smite 1, we just disabled new gods from ranked for a week or two, which is theoretically something we could do for Smite 2 as well. Will we add Savage Plus for controller players? You can set your own controller mappings in Smite 2. So if there's, as I recall, the only difference between Savage and Savage Plus is that it has the hold both bumpers to cast your ult.
Yeah.
So if you want to remap your ult to be that button combination, you can. Yeah. So there's nothing preventing you from doing that. We just, from our statistics, very, very, very few people use Savage Plus, and having it as an alternate option just seemed confusing for people when you can go in and in 3 seconds remap it yourself. How's my baby and what is their name? My baby is doing great. His name is Luca. So baby Luca is doing good. He's 2 weeks old. You know, he's eating and sleeping and pooping, and that's pretty much what babies do at that age. If you have not had kids, which is probably most of this chat, they are basically little potatoes for the first few weeks of life.
When are cross-gen skins transferring? So we've got 3 cross-gen skins making their way in the next update, and the idea is that now that we're through this big push of gods, we're going to be getting cross-gen skins and classic skins into Smite 2 with every update. So you can look forward to seeing a lot more of those coming down the pipeline more frequently.
There's a question about the spelling of my son's name. It's Luca, not Luka. Not it's the Italian version, not the what is it? I don't remember what the other version is, but yes, the Italian version. Will we see King Arthur soon? I believe we confirmed that
Yes.
King Arthur is one of the new gods who will be coming to Smite 2 this year.
Yes.
But he will not be one of the next 8 gods, which are the ones we've officially revealed the order of.
Yeah.
So you got a little while to wait, but you can look forward to King Arthur's release this year. King Arthur is actually one of the most technically challenging gods to bring over to Smite 2 because of the way his basic attacks work. So if you are not a big King Arthur player in Smite 1, his basic attacks are all root motion, where if I'm standing here and you're here and I auto attack, I lock onto you essentially, and I kind of like hone in on you and step towards you when I'm attacking. And that's new tech that's not used anywhere else in Smite 2. So we need to do that work. Plus, he's also kind of a stance swapper, so he has like extra effects on everything and extra animations on everything. So he's just a more difficult character to do. We've postponed him like 4 times. He was initially, our initial plan way back in the day was that him and Mordred were going to release at the same time last June or whatever that was.
We just need a little bit more time to cook.
Yeah, we just needed more time to be able to get to him, especially since we were trying to move fast on getting as many gods as we could over.
Yeah. And for those of you that missed the Titan Talk on Sunday, we revealed that King Arthur, Scylla, Mercury,
Sylvanas,
Apollo, and Sylvanas all making their way to the battleground in Smite 2 this year. So just more things that you can look forward to down the line.
When are we getting mount tech for all the horse gods? So we did say that one of the upcoming gods is a Wheelish, who does not have a horse, but kind of technically has a horse. So for Suku, we have to do that work. So that will set the groundwork for future horse riding characters.
Yeah. Love the Vegas roadmap. Would you all look at doing 8-week roadmap cycles? Example, do another God roadmap for the next upcoming 8 weeks right before bar releases. We've talked a lot about internally just the cadence for when we want to talk about the next X amount of things coming to Smite 2. And we haven't really locked that down yet. We were thinking like once a quarter is probably something that makes a little bit of sense for, getting out in front of the community, talking about the next X amount of things coming to the game over the next 3 months or so. So
yeah, I would say probably around the time we get to the end of the current released roadmap, we'll start talking about what the next roadmap is, right? Yeah. Like we don't want to leave you guys just completely like, oh, what's next, right? Because I think that there is some benefit to suspense and the excitement of, oh, it could be anything. It could even be a car or it could even be a boat. Yeah. Sorry, it could even be a boat. But especially with a game like Smite 2, where so many people are just waiting for their favorite characters to come over, knowing when your favorite character is going to come over, we think is probably more valuable than the excitement of not knowing what's coming out next week. Yeah. So we want to give you some idea of what's coming down the pipe, but obviously we still have some exciting new things coming as well, such as Princess Bari, our first Korean goddess, coming to Smite 2 in about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So I have to write a description for her later today. So note to self. Chat's moving fast again. Who do I have to bribe to get a burrito skin? I wore my burrito jersey the other week. Did you see that? There was Burrito Esports was a esports org for those of you who are not familiar. I think they won a Rivals of Aether tournament. And they have a skin in that.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
And they were, I think they were the finalists for the Paladins, the first Paladins World Championship. But I think they lost to District 69, if I recall correctly. My Paladins lore is a little shaky. It's been a while. Will we remodel more gods like Cupid? I think where it makes sense, we are definitely touching up gods and making visual changes where they make sense. I think that Cupid was the one that needed the most change from Smite 1 to Smite 2. I can say I know that Mercury is getting a little bit of a bigger visual pass. I know that some other gods are getting more, but I don't think you'll see many as drastic, or maybe even any as drastic as Cupid going from tiny bobblehead to I'm a real boy. So I think you will see god remodels where it makes sense, but just keep the scope in mind.
Why not let us change team health bar colors to any hex code?
So I think that that's theoretically doable for the future. In the short term, we know that people want these colorblind colors. And I believe that the quicker path was hard coding a couple colors and saying, flip the switch, the colors change. There's also like, there aren't just 2 colors to the health bars. Like, I know that sounds silly, but like damage is a specific color, healing is a specific color. The if you're in the execute range on the minions, it changes the color a little bit. So there's a lot of like supplementary colors that kind of go with it all. And it's like, then do we expose all of those colors for you to change? Like, it kind of becomes, if you give a mouse a cookie and you end up with this huge arc of work. And we needed to get the colorblind color settings in as quickly as possible because people have been asking for those. And then we can come back to the other stuff later. And this tech will not be useless as we get to that point.
Thoughts on altering or removing buffering for specifically leaps? Certain characters like Uller are able to abuse it a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think Uller is definitely strong. Right. And I think that we saw that in Vegas. I think we've seen that in our games at home. I think it's a difficult one because buffering on leaps is, from a person who is leaping's perspective, one of the biggest feels improvements in SMITE 2, because the number of times that there's a slight, like, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. Nothing is happening when you think it is happening. This is a very deep philosophical discussion. Things are happening like milliseconds different from everybody's perspective. Right? Because you are in Atlanta, or I'm in Atlanta, you're in Bakersfield, California. The server is in Virginia. Sometimes we have servers in Virginia. I'm just throwing that out as an example, right? And information can only travel at the speed of light. So, and that actually adds up to a sizable amount of milliseconds. And then you also have to factor in, like, hops and whatnot. And like, it takes time for data to transfer. So the things that I'm reacting to on my screen are not exactly the same as the things that you are reacting to on your screen. This is a core problem with all multiplayer gaming, and it makes it very difficult to have a universal state of truth, right? So, in 1v1 games, they do a lot of like rollback code and stuff, which doesn't really work as well for a multiplayer game where there can be 10 different perspectives on the action. If you have a server authoritative thing that is capable of rolling back everything that happens, then it gets very hitchy, where it's trying to pull you back sometimes. And if you do kind of a combination of like server authoritative plus the client tells you when it saw the thing and how do these things line up, which is kind of what we do in some ways, right? Like, even still, like, you can get into these situations where it's like, I clearly on my screen jumped before I was taunted, but on your screen, I was taunted first, and the server says you win, so I get pulled out of the air to come back down. And that getting pulled out of the air is one of the most, that was bullshit feelings that you get in SMITE. And there's kind of no great solution for that. This has been way more speaking about this than I probably should. But basically, I'm trying to say, like, there's no great solution. I think that the proper thing is to say, what leaps feel too strong with this CC buffering world, and how do we need to address those? Or are there specific rules that we need to look at around how we handle certain interactions to make it feel good versus we should just turn it off for all leaps? Because I think that, like, it is such a feels improvement that it's not worth taking away completely. A lot of Ratatosker questions. We have not officially said anything about Ratatosker. I think he's on the schedule for this year. I think, don't quote me on that. But I feel like we just get a lot of Ratatosker things, but I think he's on the schedule for this year.
People love Rat.
They do love Rat. I can't tell you exactly when, but definitely not in the next 8 because we've announced those.
What's my favorite god to play? Hua Mulan is my favorite.
Mulan is a fun one. I need Scylla back. Scylla's coming soon.
Scylla's coming soon, yeah.
Godzilla, I don't know. That might be one of the skins we poured over as a classic skin, which you'd be able to get with just your legacy gems.
Can we have the option to buy a relic when I click the empty slot in the store, like in SMITE 1?
That's a good
That's
one.
good feedback.
Yeah, we should have that. And also for consumables, do consumables work in Smite 2?
I think so. Yeah.
So it's
I'm not sure if consumables work in Smite 2, but that's the same behavior in Smite 1.
You
so we
click
should
that, it pulls up the
Yeah. What's my favorite Alani flavor? Ask Inbound. The juicy peach is my favorite.
You're the peach.
We didn't have any in the office, so I settled for the cherry twist, which is also really good. But
I like the cosmic stardust.
yeah, we're just Alani enjoyers
Yeah.
here. No ad though. No ad.
No ad. Yeah. Could you allow selling relic and starter items before initially leaving the fountain? I believe if you click undo,
Yes.
you can sell them and then rebuy them.
Will there be SPLs this year in Worlds 2026? So I know Hindu Man tweeted earlier that he is actively working on the esports plan for this year, and we should have some news to share in the next few weeks or so.
Yep,
so
soonish.
Let Hindu Man cook. He's got to write the script. Of course, this last script was amazing, so I have no doubt that Hindu Man is going to come back with some really awesome news in a few weeks.
Yep. Instead of auto builds at match start, can we have a custom build option? Yes. So we had a lot of discussions about this week, actually. We understand that we really, really, really want a custom build system in Smite 2. And we want it to be a much more robust system than we had in Smite 1, right? Mm-hmm. Ideally, we want a system where you can make builds, you can save builds, you can share builds, you can view other builds that people have shared and click, I want to use this build. You know, you can put notes on the build saying, buy this if you're against an Aphrodite or whatever, mm-hmm. right? Like, we want all of that, right? It's just a little bit of a bigger arc of work. I think we said at Vegas that Custom Builder is on our roadmap. I think it's at least a month away. It might be 2 months away. Might be 3 months away. But it is something that we know is important and we want to get done as soon as we can. It's fighting with a lot of other priorities, though, because we also know that we need to get HUD editor in there. We need to get, there's just a lot of UI things that we need to do. So it's something that we really do want to get in, though.
Yeah. I will call this out because we didn't talk about when I was in practice earlier. The practice range did get a lighting pass. I believe that's the only area that we've adjusted lighting to. It was only practice. We didn't do any of the other maps, but yes, that was a good catch. Only in practice, but there are some lighting updates in that practice arena.
Divine Legacy and Immortal Honor skins? I thought they were done beforehand. So there are multiple phases of the art pipeline, mm-hmm. and there are certain things that we can do when we do the skin, and there are certain things that we could not do until after the god was fully implemented in Smite 2. So basically like the core character model and the texture for Smite 2 were done when we made the Smite 1 skin. Yeah. The FX is a completely new arc of work that we didn't do until the Smite 2 god is finalized, because a lot of times abilities slightly changed and we needed to re-envision those FX. Yeah. So doing them once for when we made the Smite 1 skin would then mean we would need to do them again once the god was finalized. Making sure that like some skins require slight animation changes to make the skin look right. Mm-hmm. And we can't do that animation pass until after the skin is finalized. So basically, like, all of the models are done, but the FX, any animation work, and the audio pass, if there's any audio changes and just the implementation of the audio, is what still kind of needs to be done before a skin can come out in Smite 2. So we are working through that backlog as quickly as we can. I believe that we showed 3 skins today, maybe 4 skins that are cross-gen or Divine Legacy skins that are outstanding that'll be in OB2. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to be consistently going through those and hopefully polishing them off in the next couple months. So the idea is that you will have all of your outstanding cross-gen and Divine Legacy skins sooner rather than later. How long will Tier 5 Zeus and the Founders Edition be available? We haven't officially announced when those are going away. I would expect that they're around for a while at least. So no big time crunch to buy them. Yep. You did miss out on the Kakadiv and Amir if you have not bought them, because that was a alpha exclusive part of the bundles, but otherwise they should be around for a little while.
Yeah.
Slash or Clash game mode? What about Turbo Conquest? This is my personal.
Give them the pitch, yeah.
Basically, I feel like Slash and Clash, they exist as a mode because you want something that you can play in a shorter period of time.
Mm-hmm.
The explanation that it was more of a 4-player mode hasn't really held up over the years because more people, the 5-player versions have always been more popular, right? So the main advantage of it was that it was, some people like 2 lanes, understand that part of the pitch, but mainly it gives you the Conquest-like experience in a shorter period of time. I think that it would be more healthy for the game personally if we had a version of Conquest that just played more quickly. So on the Conquest map, but there's more gold and XP spooling, and the game just objective spawn quicker and stuff. And basically, like, if you could finish a game of Conquest reliably in 15 to 20 minutes, that feels like a better path forward to me than Siege or Slash.
Seen this a couple times, but did the reception to the Vegas tournament and the associated player increase meet expectations?
It is impossible in 2025 to have any reliable expectations for what your game will do. You can see, like, some games blow up out of nowhere and do crazy. You can see some games, that you think are surefire big hits that don't do anything, right? I think that we are cautiously optimistic about how things have gone so far, right? I think that we were very enthused to see, the player numbers that we saw. It seems like everybody really had a great time watching Vegas. Obviously you're always happier if you have more players, right? But I think that we forecasted a lot of different levels of, like, this is very bad to this is, incredibly exceeding expectations. And I think we're vaguely on track with kind of where we thought we would end up. So in some ways we're doing better than we thought we would. In some ways we're doing worse than we thought we would. It just is how you want to slice the picture, right? So I think, generally speaking, we're pleased that the community, the most pleasing thing I think is that, like, people seem really happy with the state of the game, right? The hardcore players are really into SMITE 2 where it is right now. People are incredibly pleased with how much the game has gotten better so far, and they see the promise of the future that the game is going to keep getting better, right? And they want to be a part of the journey. So I think that all bodes well for us. And our hope is that, we just kind of keep growing and growing over time, right? Like, SMITE 1 was not a day one mega hit, right? We just kind of steadily had a player base, and, we grow for some moments and we shrink back down at some moments. And I think if we can do that, we will be very pleased on SMITE 2.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are at 1:59, so
baby.
It's time for one more question.
I missed that. It's
I
been
know,
a while.
right?
It's been a while.
So we'll let chat fill up a little bit. We'll take one more question from each of us, and then by that time, but when we end the show, we should be ready for our SMITE 2 flash test.
Yes, SMITE 2 flash test very soon.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. I just got a notification. I thought the Raiders had hired a new coach, but they hired a new GM, and nobody cares about the GM. Let's see. Lots of good questions coming in. I think that, obviously the show could always run hours.
Right,
time answering everything. It's always hard to pick which one's going to be the last one.
Bobby says they need a new QB too. So
yes, they need a lot. Yeah, I was at one point a very big Raiders fan, and then they left Oakland, and they are now dead to me. Very similar to every team that has left Oakland. So,
let's see here. If you bring classic skins for characters like Anhur or Sobek, would you adapt them to their new proportions or keep them the same? I think adapting them would be better.
Yeah, I think so. And we actually have talked about that. I forget which skin it was. There was some skin that we wanted to bring over, and it was like, but it's a new character model. How do we do that?
Yeah.
And we were like, I think we'll just do like a new version of it.
Right. Yeah.
I can't remember which skin it was, but I think it might have been a Sobek one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not just going to not do a classic skin because the character got a new
exactly. Yeah, we would definitely do the work to. Well, it'd be a discussion internally.
Yes.
But I think I like the idea of adapting to the new proportion, just because like Sobek, he just looks so good in Smite 2.
Yep. Yeah, there's so many good questions today. I feel like I've been gone for a while,
Right?
so everything
Yeah.
seems so new. There have been a lot of questions about clans today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just touch on clans briefly.
Yeah.
I think, so I personally really like the concept of clans, right? I think in Smite 1, there were a ton of technical issues related to the implementation of clans. And it just was a very technically, a lot of the times when the servers crashed for Smite 1 back in the day, it was actually because of clans.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if I've ever said that before, but that's, it maybe sounds weird or dumb, but just technically the way it was implemented for Smite 1 had a lot of issues. And that's why clans were closed for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It was because they were causing server instability and yada, 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 right? I think clans had a really important role in the early days of Smite 1 because there really weren't a lot of good places for communities to gather around the game. So letting them do it in-game was very useful.
Yeah.
I think in the later days of Smite 1, the main benefit was you got some shadow skins for being in a clan and for, achieving certain things, and people like that, right? I think in 2025, clans are more beneficial, or they're less beneficial because like everybody just has a Discord group with their friends to play games with. And people find matches with other groups of people on like, influencer Discords, and like a lot of the purpose of a in-game clan system is served by like out-of-game Discords. And you could say that like it would be better to be in-game. I can totally agree with that argument, but I think that like the amount that it makes the game better to put it in-game versus it being Discord is relatively slim.
Yeah.
So currently it's not a priority for us. Because it was such a technical issue for Smite 1, the concept of clans does not exist in the Rally Here 2.0 backend. So like all the games that have been built on this version of the backend, like basically starting with Rogue Company and some external games and whatnot, there's no concept of clans in the backend. So we would need to first create a new concept of clans in the backend and then start to allow people to do it. So it's both a big technical arc of work, and it's just something that we don't think is as valuable as it was in 2014 or whatever we did it the first time. So definitely a cool thing, maybe something that we re-examine in the future, but just not a priority right now with all the other things that we need to get done, and seeing that it's just less valuable in 2025. So.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that wraps up for the show. I got a notification on my phone. Smite 2 public test on Steam is now up and open for people that want to get in on the flash test with Vulcan and Hun Batz. Until then, we will catch you all. We'll be back on Friday.
And the new aspects.
Oh, and the new aspects. Sobek and Ares both have aspects in that.
And I think it was going to be, is it not Conquest today? It's Joust.
I think it may be Joust. Yeah.
I think it's Joust. So if you're a jouster, go in and give it a try.
Check it out. Yeah. And we'll be back on Friday, right, Killgoon? We got to get back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Back at it with
Titan
Lermy.
Talk. Yeah, with Lermy.
Lermy's
We're going to be
balance
talking about OB2 balance. You can get an early look at all the nerfs and buffs coming to the Battleground very soon. But until Friday, chat, we will see you all on the Battleground. Hope you all enjoy the flash test happening right now. We will see you all later, though. Peace.